You're muted. We can't hear you.
Let's try that one more time.
And we'll try that one more time. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the third quarter meeting of the State Fire Prevention and Building Code Council. My name is Matt Tebow. I am the designee for Secretary of State Walter T. Mosley. We have another hot and humid day here in Albany. It's a big day, 4 years in the making, culmination of 4 years of blood, sweat, and tears. Kevin will tell you in what part each was. We will take up the notice of adoption for both the uniform and energy codes today. I don't think I have any other announcements, so we'll dive right into our work. Kevin, will you take the vote to establish quorum, please?
Matt Tebow,
I'm here.
James Cable,
Here.
Vincent Rappaciulo,
Here.
Christy Witcher,
Here.
Joseph DeStefano,
Here.
Joseph Toomey,
Here.
Sean Hamlin,
Here.
Timothy DeRusher,
Here.
Robert Hughes,
Here.
Buffalo office, William Tyne,
Here.
Dominic Marinelli. Here. New York City office, James Gibbons. Here. And Keith Wen.
Here.
Okay. So pursuant to Public Officer Law, Section 103A, a quorum is established of 12 people. Members attending at locations open to the public and one member participating via video conference from a remote location that is not open to the public. So members not in attendance in the Albany location, please mute your microphones. If anyone wishes to speak, please unmute, state your full name, and then speak. At this time, we have 6 participants anticipated to give public comment today. We will limit the amount of time for each public comment to 3 minutes. We pasted a list of who has signed up to speak remotely in the chat. So if your name is not on a list and you wish to address the Code Council during the public comment period, please send us a message through WebEx to Adam Richter, and we will collect some information and place you on the list.
All right, thank you, Kevin. Do we have any agenda? We do have an agenda change, right, from yesterday?
Yes, so yesterday we did post a new agenda to the public notice and send it out to the Code Council members to add an additional agenda item for an executive session.
Thank you, Kevin. Okay, I'm just going to run through the agenda real fast so we know what's in front of us. Obviously, we're going to do the executive session first. After that, we'll come back. We will take up the minutes from the June 27th meeting. When we get that done, I believe we're on to then John and Peniota to speak about activities of the division and legislation and some other topics. Following that, and we're into the meat of it, we take up seeker first. Amalia will give us a quick rundown of what we have in the last month, and then we really jump into it. We have uniform code first with Kevin. He's going to run through any changes that the division is proposing since public comment, and then we'll talk about the uniform code at large, any discussion, and then we'll have our votes. There are 2 votes for that. Following that, we will do the exact same thing with Emma and the energy code. Changes from the public comment, discussion of the code at large, and votes. There'll be 2 votes with that as well. When that's done, we're back for the public comment, right? We said we have 6 signed up right now, 3 minutes apiece, maximum. And then I'll do my typical announcements. We'll do our thank yous and sure, the afternoon. Okay, with that as our roadmap for the day, I will make the first motion of the day. I move that we enter into executive session to discuss our litigation strategy in the case of Oliver and Gas Company, Inc. et al. Versus Walter T. Mosley et al. Can I have a second for that? Okay, I looked right before I looked left, Joe. 10 seconds. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. I'm going to ask visitors to leave the room. Staff and members should stay. Go ahead. Okay, we are back on the record here at Albany. We have returned from executive session where council updated us on the Mulhern Gas Company, Inc. et al. Versus Walter T. Mosley et al. Case. No votes were taken. Okay, that takes us to agenda item 3, which, oh, thank you. I'm going to note that for purposes of quorum, Patrick Dolan has joined us and is in the New York City office. You. Okay, that takes us to agenda item number 3, which is the draft minutes of June 27th, 2025. Are there any changes to the motions you received, to the minutes? You received them in your packets last week. All right, hearing none, may I have a motion to approve the minutes of June 27th? Motion approved. All right, Tim makes the motion to approve. See, I looked to my left. And may I have a second? Joe seconds. Okay. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All in favor of approving those minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Okay, then we have unanimously approved I got it. We have unanimously approved the minutes. Both Vince and Patrick need to abstain because they were not here last week. Feels like last week. It feels like last week. It was just yesterday. Okay, that takes us to agenda item 4. I'm going to take a breath here and turn it over to John to update us on single exits and the ICC proposals for yes, we are already thinking about the 2027 icons. John, take it away, please.
Okay. Good morning, Chair Tebow and co-council members. Like Matt said, I'm going to give you a quick update on the single exit study and the ICC co-development process. Regarding the single exit study contract, it's actually still working through the process for final approvals, and we expect final sign off very soon, which actually is a good thing because staff has been pretty busy the past few months, and so that's the way they can kind of focus on that project as well. So that's good. So once again, once we get the final approvals, we'll start right away on working with the consultant on that report. Regarding the ICC code development process, as I mentioned a few weeks ago, the fall hearings will continue the process of updates to the 2027 Group B I codes. The deadline to submit comments was the middle of July, and DOS submitted 14 of our proposals, comments on 14 of our proposals for the fall hearing. And again, with an additional 9 that have already been approved through the Group B process. So as a reminder, most of those proposals are what we are, have incorporated in our proposed code update that you'll vote on today. Regarding the 2027 International Energy Code update, the first phase of the development for the 2027 IEC is now complete. They are now moving on to a vote on the committee action report. And depending on those results, they'll consider individual proposals that have been approved by the subcommittee. So at this point, DOS has had about 25 approved. So they will go to the main committee for a vote. So as you can see, things are going very well for DOS as far as the code development process, the model code development process. So I just, again, got to thank staff for all their work on everything they've done. It's amazing. They've done a great job. So that is all I have today. Thank you.
Thanks, John. I echo that. Yeah, that's what happens when you have a good staff. Any questions for John?
Yes, Jen, the single exit study, is there any approximate schedule that's being thought about at this point, or is that still being worked out? When would we expect to see something or a preliminary reports or something like that? Is this a year? Is it 6 months? That's the question.
It would be within the year. Yeah.
Okay.
As soon as possible. We're going to try to we're going to try to get it done as soon as we can, just so that we can begin that process. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions for John? Once, twice sold. Okay, on to Peniota.
Good morning. So this is just a refresher. At the February meeting, we went over some legislative updates that occurred And one of them had an effective date of July 1st, which amended Executive Law Section 374. So that was the amendment from Chapter 604 of the laws of 2024, which added a member to the Code Council who shall represent agricultural producers. And then the amendment from Chapter 4 of the laws of 2025 added another member from among the commissioners and also added as an option ag and markets as one of the possibilities. So that took effect on July 1st. And that means as of the 1st, we have increased from 17 to 19 members. And that means quorum changed from 9 to 10.
Okay, any questions for Peniota? All right, hearing none, I would expect that there will be some new friends joining us at the table for our next meeting. Okay, well, pre-show is over. It's time to get to the main act. We are on to agenda item 5, Uniform Code and Energy Code. Seeker, the State Environmental Quality Review Act. And Amalia is going to come up and walk us through the last month.
Okay. Amalia Saltine, attorney. At the June 27, 2025 Code Council meeting, Anna Banal provided an update on the process, and the Code Council voted to accept the final generic impact statement and requested the department publish on the department's website, as well as the environmental notable final GIS. I'm not going to go over everything that happened prior to that. Video involved, hopefully. Not important. So the notice of completion of the final GIS was published in the BNB on July 9th, 2025. The department drafted the finding statement provided as part of the packets. The finding statement provides that the facts and conclusions relied on to support the decision that the proposed amendment of the Uniform Code and the Energy Code would not have a significant adverse environmental impact as set forth in the final GIS. Notably, the Code Council received only 2 written comments of the proposed rule, which is stated in the GIS were technical in nature. The department determined that this was expected, that the change would collectively have a positive impact on the environment, including the following potentially beneficial cumulative impacts: increased public health and safety through improved building design and better fire protection systems, building design alternatives which afford opportunities for increasing optimal efficiency, and reduction in greenhouse gas emissions throughout the state. As part of the secret process, the Code Council will need to issue a finding statement prior to voting on approval of the notice of adoption for the voting in today's meeting. The department recommends that the Code Council accept the finding statement and request that the department publish the finding statement on the department's website for compliance with the 8th.
Okay, thank you. Do we have questions? Okay. All right, so that takes us to a motion. Again, as we always do, because we want to make sure that it's right on the record. Council's going to read the motion, I'll make the motion, and then I'll see you in a second. Go ahead.
For your consideration, I move that the Code Council accepts the document entitled State Environmental Quality Review Act Findings Statement related to the proposed amendment of the New York State Uniform Fire Prevention and Building Code and the State Energy Conservation Construction Code. Such document be published on the New York State Department of State website for compliance with Article 8 of the Environmental Conservation Law. So moved.
Thank you, Peniota. Again, I make that motion. May I have a second? And Joe Toomey seconds. Is there any discussion on the motion? All right, hearing none, this is a recorded vote.
Yeah.
Kevin?
Matt Tebow,
Yes.
James Cable,
Yes.
Vincent Rappachulo,
Yes.
Christy Witcher,
Yes.
Joseph DeStefano,
Yes.
Joseph Toomey,
Yes.
Sean Hamlin,
Yes.
Timothy DeRusher,
Yes.
Robert Hughes,
Yes.
Buffalo Office, William Tyne,
Yes.
Dominic Marinelli,
Yes.
New York City Office, Patrick Dolan. All right, I try to get Patrick Dolan,
Yes.
James Gibbons,
Yes.
and Keith Wen.
Yes.
He's muted. He said yes, but he's muted.
You're muted, Keith.
Now he's muted again.
Yes. Can you hear me?
There we go. Yes, thank you very much. It's 14.
Okay, it passes unanimously with 14. Gentlemen, I'm going to give you a second to have a drink. That takes us to agenda item number 6, Uniform Code Notice of Adoption. That was the amount of time I could get.
That's it. All right, I guess I'll echo everybody. You'll probably hear it multiple times today, but to thank everybody for participating in the process. It's been a 4+ year process, and I want to thank my staff. They've done a tremendous amount of work. And even though it's been 4+ years, it might have felt like 8. So the plan today is I'm going to present a brief overview of the schedule moving forward and what documents have been presented to the co-council for this meeting. Documents were sent to the co-council members at the end of last week, and several drafts have been shared over the course of this week leading up to today. A final draft was posted to the public notice and sent to the co-council members on Tuesday and Wednesday this week. Following that posting, several minor formatting changes were made to the documents that I'll discuss later on. And the final package, inclusive of those minor changes, was posted last night to the public notice and shared with the co-council members. Following the February 28th, 2025 meeting and as approved by the Code Council, the notice of proposed rulemaking was published in the State Register on March 19th, 2025. Public hearings for the Uniform Code and the Energy Code rulemaking were jointly held in person in Albany on May 20th, 2025. Public hearings were also held virtually on May 21st and May 22nd, 2025. The Department of State received written comments and comments during the public hearings. All comments were received and assessed, and such assessment was included in the members' packets. As a result of the public comments, no substantive changes were made to the code books. However, some changes were made and detailed in your packets. For examples, we did formatting changes throughout the Uniform Code. Margins were changed, spaces were added or removed, certain text was indented, punctuation was added, and italics and formatting were removed for non-defined terms. We also had some changes for duplicative code language that we deleted, and certain code language was clarified in such a manner as to require sections to be renumbered in certain chapters of the codes. The NY prefix was deleted when used within the body of a code provision for consistency or where no numeric change was made. Instances of incorrect section and chapter references were also corrected, and changes were also made to incorporate recently released ICC errata. Additional changes to the Uniform Code provisions for rail stations were made to align with NFPA 130, recently issued variances related to rail stations and rail station best practices. With respect to reference standards chapters in each books, the publication titles and reference numbers, names, and addresses of the publishers and publication dates were corrected for several publications. In addition, several reference standards were updated to no longer be incorporated by reference because such standards were found to be either testing standards or design standards, which did not require code officials to be able to enforce the applicable provisions of the Uniform Code. We also updated the titles of the books from the 2024 versions to the 2025 versions, and that necessitated us to change the publication date, amended to read publication date July 2025. Also, that meant we had to change the definitions of all the code books that are found in Chapter 2 to include publication date July 2025, and the addition year in all code books was amended to 2025. Some other noteworthy comments received during the comment period. We had many comments received regarding the installation of automatic sprinkler systems in 1 and 2 family dwellings. The proposed 25 Uniform Code maintains the 2020 residential code provisions regarding automatic sprinkler systems in 1 and 2 family dwellings, but adds a sprinkler requirement for new townhouse units that are served by a municipal water system. A number of comments were received regarding references to the proposed Uniform Code to other New York State regulations and laws pertaining to or administered by other agencies than DOS. Since the Uniform Code is incorporated by reference into the New York State regulations, it needs to be coordinated with other regulations and laws, which include similar or overlapping requirements to ensure that there's no conflict between the provisions in different laws and regulations. Such other regulations and laws are referenced specifically in the responses to the comments. Additionally, As I said above, I wanted to take a moment to review the differences between the documents posted last night and those that you guys had received in your packets earlier in the week, and those were on the public notice earlier. So due to the publishing process and the final back check from the proposed documents from the publisher, some additional formatting corrections were made to the books. These changes include correcting several additional references to the 2024 books versus the new publication date and title of 25. Several tables, headings, footers, figures, page numbers, indentations, and italics were corrected. We adjusted to better fit the formatting style of the publisher's PDFs. Several small typos such as spelling errors and section number reference were also corrected, and the files uploaded last night to the public notice and those sent to the Code Council reflect all of those changes for your consideration today. The proposed tentative schedule moving forward is, again, receiving approval from the Code Council on the rulemaking package is on the agenda today. After that, staff will coordinate with ICC for the Blue Line document approval next week. Following that, there is a 45-day publication timeframe. And after that, we will be able to publish the notice of adoption package for appearance in the October 1st, 2025 State Register with an effective date of December 31st, 2025, which will include a transition period during which time either code may be used by an owner or not.
Okay. Take another breath for a minute. Assuming everybody has, I think we probably do this logically. We'll do, are there questions on the changes? Okay, hearing none, is there a discussion on the code, the uniform code itself? Working my way around, I don't see anyone. So that takes us to motion number 1. Okay, Leota, if you'll read the first motion that I will be making.
For your consideration, I move, 1, that the Code Council find and determine that the adoption of the rule identified in Agenda Item 6, Uniform Code, Notice of Adoption, will not have a significant environmental impact and will not have a significant adverse effect on any significant fish or wildlife habitat, scenic resource of statewide significance, important agricultural land or area included in an approved local waterfront revitalization program. And 2, that Kevin Drew Clark be authorized to sign and deliver on behalf of the Code Council and the Department of State, the New York State Department of State Coastal Management Program Coastal Assessment Form, and the certification of no significant coastal impact. So moved.
Yeah, I'm making that motion. May I have a second? Saw Sean this time, actually. So Sean seconds the motion. May I, is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Kevin? Number 2 for the day.
Matt Tebow,
Yes.
James Cable,
Yes.
Vincent Rappaciulo,
Yes.
Christy Witcher,
Yes.
Joseph DeStefano,
Yes.
Joseph Toomey,
Yes.
Sean Hamlin,
Yes.
Timothy DeRusher,
Yes.
Robert Hughes,
Yes.
Buffalo Office, William Tyne,
Yes.
Dominic Marinelli,
Yes.
New York City Office, Patrick Dolan,
Yes.
James Givens,
Yes.
and then Keith Wen. 14.
Okay. Carries unanimously with 14. Leota for the second motion, please.
For your consideration, I move, 1, that the Code Council find and determine that adoption of the rule identified in Agenda Item 6, Uniform Code Notice of Adoption, be adopted as a permanent rule. And 2, that the rule and the amendments to the Uniform Code made by the rule shall be effective on December 31st, 2025, which will be at least 90 days after publication of the Notice of Adoption in the State Register. However, pursuant to Executive Law, Section 378-20B, during the transition period between adoption of this rule and the date on which the changes to the Uniform Code become effective, a person shall have the option of complying with either the provisions of the Uniform Code as changed or with the provisions of the Uniform Code in effect immediately prior to the adoption of this rule. So moved.
Thank you, Penny Yoda. I make that motion. May I have a second, please? Okay. Sergeant Cable on that one, so Jim seconds. Is there any discussion on this motion? All right, hearing none. Kevin? Vote number 3.
Matt Tebow,
Yes.
James Cable,
Yes.
Vincent Rappachulo,
Yes.
Christy Witcher,
Yes.
Joseph DeStefano,
Yes.
Joseph Toomey,
Yes.
Sean Hamlin,
Yes.
Timothy DeRusher,
Yes.
Robert Hughes,
Yes.
Buffalo Office, William Tyne,
Yes.
Dominic Marinelli,
Yes.
New York City Office, Patrick Dolan,
Yes.
James Gibbons,
Yes.
and Keith Wen.
There, yes, okay. Motion carries unanimously with 14. Okay, on the road. Agenda item number 7, Energy Code. Notice of adoption. Emma,
Thank you.
take it away.
Chair Tebow, members of the council, members of the public, it's my distinct pleasure to address you today. At the conclusion of this process, I will be presenting for you a brief overview of the more salient changes that were made to the energy code as a result of the public comment period. During the public comment period, following the notice of proposed rulemaking, we received 96 comments. 71 of those were written comments and 25 were verbal comments presented during the public hearings, and some commenters did both. Comments pertaining to the energy code also include the fossil fuel equipment and building systems provisions of 19 NYCRR parts 1229 and 1240. And as a reminder, as a matter of clarification, I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page that the provisions for the fossil fuel prohibition do not apply to existing buildings. They only apply to new buildings, and they do not have any effect on the replacement of fossil fuel fired equipment in existing buildings. Also, you just heard Kevin speak of a transition period for the Uniform Code in accordance with the executive law. The energy law makes no such provision, so there is no transition period for the energy code. Now, back to the comments. In some cases, the changes recommended by a comment need further consideration, analysis, cost effectiveness evaluation, and public input. No significant changes were made as a result of those comments. Those have not been incorporated into the rule now being adopted, and no new cost effectiveness determination needs to be made because of those comments. However, division staff might continue to review those comments and the proposed recommendations for consideration during a future proposal. Some of the modifications made to the code as a result of the comments were across the board, similar to what Kevin explained earlier: clarifications, formatting, correction of errata, addressing errata published by the ICC, and errata published by ASHRAE for the 90.1 standard. So specifically in the rule text in 19 NYCRR section 1240.6 and 1229-2, a definition was added for the term authority having jurisdiction for clarity. Modifications were made to the definition of fuel cell systems to remove the phrase, unquote, with no carbon byproducts. A clarification was made to the definition of the term manufacturing facility to provide examples. Modifications were made for clarity to the prohibition against installation of fossil fuel equipment and building systems to indicate that it is applicable only to new buildings, as I mentioned before, and subject to statutory exemptions. Similarly, the provisions requiring electrification readiness were clarified to indicate that they only applied in new and not in existing buildings. The grid exemption provisions were clarified to make clear the role of the New York State Public Service Commission in establishing the standards and criteria for making the reasonableness determination through their regulations. And the conditional exemption provision was revised to provide examples of the manner in which an applicant could demonstrate measurable emissions reductions or increased energy efficiency. Now, as it pertains to the 2025 Energy Conservation Construction Code, the following changes were made. The definition for the term addition was modified to eliminate the wording on quote conditioned space and simply referencing floor area. An addition is when you're increasing the floor area. A correction was made to the residential provisions for historic buildings to restore a previously omitted language. Two modifications were made for flexibility in the implementation. One was the energy use intensity was added to the performance path in section C407 as an alternative compliance option, and an option for compliance with ASHRAE, and I spoke with the code reporter earlier, ASHRAE, ASHRAE, the American Society for Heating, Refrigeration, and Air Conditioning Engineers. I'm just going to say ASHRAE from here on. The standard 202 was added to the commissioning testing requirements of section C 408.2.3. Fourth and final, as pertains to the New York State specific version of ASHRAE 90.1, a new formula consistent with ASHRAE 90.1-2022, addendum B as in boy, V as in Victor, was added to perform mechanical equipment efficiency unit conversions. And the use of a site energy metric as a compliance alternative in Appendix G, that is currently what was already available when we did the notice of rule in development for where electrification was required, was now extended to also those who are pursuing electrification voluntarily. And that brings us to the end of my presentation. In addition to thanking my staff profusely, I cannot ask for a better group of individuals to work with. I'd like to thank you, and back to the chair.
Thanks, Emma. I get continually reminded how much smarter Emma is than me. Pretty much happens every day at this point. Well done. Are there questions for Emma?
Yes, question.
Keith?
Hi. Can you repeat the projected effective date again for the energy code?
It will be January 1st, 2026.
January 1st, 2026. And there's no, I think you mentioned that there's no grace period.
No,
It's going to be,
Keith, hold on a second.
sorry, Keith.
It is actually
December
31st.
31st, 2025. And like you're correct, no transition period for the energy.
okay. So can you walk me through exactly how it works? So if somebody actually is in the process of filing in December with the local jurisdiction, and they already obtained two scenarios. One scenario is they got the approval. The other scenario is they got the permit and already started construction. How would we apply that?
Well, it doesn't apply retroactively. So it does not apply to buildings for which a substantially complete building permit application is received prior to December 31st, 2025.
So as long as a permit is secured,
As long as a substantially, I'm sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. As long as a substantially complete application is received by the authority having jurisdiction, it doesn't mean that the code official has reviewed it or has issued a permit based on that application. But as long as the applicant has submitted a substantially complete application, the provisions do not apply to that project.
I see. So not necessarily receiving an approval or permit, only to submit a complete package to the local jurisdiction for review.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Keith. Any other questions?
I just have a question. Can you just explain regarding the, where it says the energy code does not pertain to, it pertains only to new buildings? What's the classification of new building size, square footage, or?
A new building would be one for which, this is connected to Keith's question, one for which a substantially complete application is submitted prior to December 31st, 2025. It's not an existing building, but to answer your question, definitions for existing buildings are in the code books.
Okay, so when you say new buildings, that means everything.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Where
There's two subsections.
it doesn't mean construction of new buildings. Does that mean sizes, square footage, or?
There is a distinction between new buildings that have the requirement for December 31st of 25, which are going to be these 7 stories and less, or
And
less than
commercial less than
100,000 square feet of conditioned space.
Correct.
And then the December 31st of 2028 is when everything will be required. So you're looking at the really tall and the really large buildings. That does not affect them until the December 31st, 2028 prohibition date. So there's 2 levels.
But again, this is only on new construction,
Correct.
not affect existing buildings.
Correct.
Okay. And then if you vote yes on this, that pertains then, and you said, repeat that again regarding from years from now. What was the year you said that? then?
There's 2 years. The first year is December 31st, 2025.
Right.
And that's the smaller than 7 stories and smaller than 100,000 square feet.
Okay.
And then everything is December 31st of 2028.
And you asked, and I missed it the first time you asked where is that? And that is in the rule text. Those dates and building sizes are in the.
Yeah, no,
rule
I
text.
didn't ask that.
Okay,
Thank you.
I got it. Go ahead. Joe.
Is there a definition of substantially completed application?
Yes.
It just seemed very, arbitrary.
John?
Said new buildings only apply additions.
Does not apply to additions. Or alterations,
Irrespective of square footage of that addition.
without respect to the size of the addition.
Okay,
Question
Anybody
here, a follow-up question.
sure, Keith.
Yeah, it's actually related to existing building code. Is there any relationship to the existing building code at all in terms of new buildings or new construction? Or is it completely separate definition for energy code? You know how in the existing building code, you have level 1, level 2, level 3 alterations, change of occupancy, all of those things, right? So for example, if there's a building that is currently sitting vacant and the owner decided to do certain things to the building in a drastic way, triggering certain level of alterations, does that ever become new construction or new building, as you call
No,
it?
it does not. So yes, there is a different definition for alterations in the energy code. It doesn't break them into level 1, 2, 3 alterations. They're all just one type of alteration. And the fossil fuel prohibition does not apply to alterations of any size.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Robert?
Just to add on that, if a building was built, never obtained a C of O, so it was not legal, ever occupied, that would be considered new.
Then the definition for existing buildings would be what gets you there. It has to be legally existing,
I just wanted to
Consider.
clarify that
an existing building. Yes.
there are instances where buildings have been constructed, never occupied, never CO'd. Somebody comes along, takes that building physically exists, but it's
But
not
not legally.
legally. That would be new.
That's a new building.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. We'll close discussion and move on to the motion. Leota, when you're ready. We have two motions here.
For your consideration, I move, 1, that the Code Council find and determine that the adoption of the rule identified in Agenda Item 7, Energy Code Notice of Adoption, will not have a significant environmental impact and will not have a significant adverse effect on any significant fish or wildlife habitat, scenic resource of statewide significance, important agricultural land, or area included in an approved local waterfront revitalization program. And two, that Kevin Dewar Clark be authorized to sign and deliver on behalf of the Code Council and the Department of State, the New York State Department of State Coastal Management Program Coastal Assessment Form, and the certification of no significant coastal impact. So moved.
Thank you, Penny Yoda. I make that motion. May I have a second? Joe Toomey seconds the motion. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Kevin, when you're ready.
Matt Tebow. Aye.
James Cable. Yes. Thank you.
Vincent Rappuccillo.
Yes.
Christie Witcher.
Yes.
Joseph DeStefano.
Yes.
Joseph Toomey.
Yes.
Sean Hamlin.
Yes.
Timothy DeRusher.
Yes.
Robert Hughes.
Yes.
Buffalo office William Tyne.
Yes.
Dominic Marinelli.
Yes.
New York City office Patrick Nolan.
Yes.
James Gibbons.
Yes.
And then Keith Webb.
I heard the.
One more time, Keith.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. I record your aye as a yes. We have 14.
Motion carries with 14 unanimously. I was just making sure everyone was still paying attention. Okay. Second motion, Penny Yoda, if you please.
For your consideration, I move, one, that the Code Council find and determine that adoption of the rule identified in Agenda Item 7, Energy Code Notice of Adoption, be adopted as a permanent rule. And two, that the rule and the amendments to the Energy Code made by the rule shall be effective on December 31st, 2025. So moved.
Even I could have read that one. Okay. I make that motion. Do I have a second? And Joe completes the cycle and we'll second it one more time. Okay. Is there any discussion on the motion? Right. Hearing none. Kevin, the final vote of the day.
Matt Tebow.
Yes.
James Gable.
Yes.
Vincent Rappuccillo.
Yes.
Christie Witcher.
Yes.
Joseph DeStefano.
Yes.
Joseph Toomey.
Yes.
Sean Hamlin.
Yes.
Timothy DeRusher.
Yes.
Robert Hughes.
Yes.
Buffalo office William Tyne.
Yes.
Dominic Marinelli.
Yes.
New York City office Patrick Nolan.
Yes.
James Gibbons.
Yes.
And Keith Wen. Yes.
You're the yes.
Yes. 14.
Motion carries with 14. Thank you. Okay, that takes us to, sorry, I feel like a 50-pound weight's been lifted off. Good work, everyone. That brings us to agenda item 8, public comment period. Kevin, how many do we have on the list?
Okay, now I think we're up to 7.
Up to 7. Okay.
All right, so what I'll do is I'll just give Adam a minute, make sure you're ready for the muting, unmuting, and we'll get the timer going on the back screen. And actually, I don't know, that's those 6 or 7 remote. Is there anyone in the room wishing to make comments?
Ronnie.
And if you could just speak up, because I think people have a little trouble hearing before.
Okay, sure. Hi, Dottie Mazzarella, the International Code Council. I just want to thank members of the council, staff, people in the audience. I know this is a long process. I've been lucky enough to sit on this side of the table and on this side. And I know the time and the dedication and the huge amount of reading and researching that had to be done. And just to commend the Department of State staff, like I said, I know how much work goes into it. And it's extremely impressive to see such dedicated professionals that I'm lucky enough to work with. I also want you all to know, I know that the chairman makes reference to this at all the meetings, but I see them also at the national level. And that's been something that's so important to not just talk the talk here in New York, but talk the talk on the national level. Other states benefit, other countries benefit from what New York is doing. And I also want to go on the record, and I just confirmed this while I was sitting there, New York is now history, that you will be using the 2024 codes. The only other state that is ahead of you is Wyoming. So there you go. So New York is truly a leader, as it should be. So I'm just happy that I was here in person. So thank you all so much. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dottie. Okay, Kevin, to the WebEx, please.
So I'll read the list because we have a short list today. So if you're not on the list and you're looking to speak, make sure you chime in. We have in this order, Michael Fazio, John Grazios, Steve McDaniel, Marty Mosley, Mary Thompson, Shlomo Paranz, Kevin Foster. So we'll start with Michael Fazio.
You're live, Michael.
Okay, I'm speaking about the mandate of fire sprinklers in one-family townhomes that are 2 stories or less. New York State Builders Association, which I am the executive director of, we oppose this mandate of requiring fire sprinklers in townhomes that while protecting our goal of protecting lives and property is a shared goal, sprinkler mandates do not address the real causes of fire fatalities and will impose significant impacts on costs to home buyers during an unprecedented housing affordability crisis in New York State. Independent research shows that modern homes built to current codes are already among the safest in history, with virtually no fire-related deaths. Mandating sprinklers will not save lives, but will price thousands of families out of home ownership. And I would argue that mandating fire sprinklers in new one-family townhomes will disproportionately affect lower-income home buyers, seniors, young families, minorities, specifically in communities of color, where folks primarily can only afford lower-priced new townhomes. So this essentially adds to the war on housing density in New York State and puts home ownership out of the reach of thousands of New York State middle income and lower income residents. Also, a study we did last year, there were no fire deaths in homes built after the year 2000 between the years of 2019 and 2023. The average fire fatality in homes occurred in homes that were built around 1932. So these mandates in new one-family townhomes under 2 stories and under will add probably $15,000 to $20,000 cost to the new home. With the median price of homes already exceeding $600,000 in New York, every $1,000 price increase in New York State prices out approximately 6,800 households. So these fire fatalities, again, are not occurring in new family dwellings. They're not occurring in townhomes that are code compliant on their fire rating separation. So again, we are extremely disappointed. This is another shot to housing affordability.
Thank you, Michael. Time is up.
Next up, John Grazios.
Not there.
See you on the list.
It's not there. All right.
Next up, Steve McDaniel.
All right, Steve, you're live.
Comments and concerns submitted by the NISBAC organization were not meaningfully considered during this code revision process. We engage in good faith, offering detailed, thoughtful input intended to strengthen the proposed code and ensure it serves the best interest of New Yorkers in both safety and practicality. The lack of acknowledgement or substantive response to our contribution undermines confidence in the transparency and integrity of this process. Public input is not a procedural formality or a checkbox. It is a vital part of informed rulemaking. When stakeholders are dismissed or ignored, it sends a troubling message about whose voices matter in shaping the built environment in our state. What is even more troubling is that while our feedback was ignored, the council proceeded to make a substantial modification to proposed code after the close of the public comment period without issuing a revised rulemaking notice. This directly conflicts with the State Administrative Procedures Act, which clearly requires a new public notice and comment period when a significant change is made. Skipping this legally mandated step not only excludes the public from key decisions, but also puts the validity of the adoption process in question. To be clear, the addition of an appendix, especially one not included as being a part of the code in the version released for public review and now is being included as a part of the code, clearly constitutes a substantial modification under SAPA. Such change materially alters the scope and effect of the rule. It introduces new obligations and should have triggered a revised rulemaking. NISBOC remains committed to working constructively with the Code Council to advance building safety and responsible code development. But that commitment must be mutual and depends on a process that honors public engagement and adheres to the law. It was said earlier that about the energy, and I think it was the folks from New York City that asked the question about the substantially completed permit application. It was said, the answer was that the building department doesn't even have to review it. You just simply have to submit it. And that is not true. If you read the definition of substantially completed application, it requires the code official to make the determination whether or not it is or is not sufficient to meet the definition of substantially completed. We share those concerns with you. That was in our public comment, which I had indicated earlier, which was substantially ignored. In closing, we urge the Code Council to reconsider how it engages with public feedback and to commit to a more inclusive and responsive process moving forward to ensure that all stakeholders are meaningfully included in shaping the future of New York codes and regulations. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Steve. Marty's up next.
Yes, next up, Marty Mosley. All right, you should be live, Marty.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Marty Mosley. I'm representing myself today. And Steve had a very good point with respect to substantial change in the existing building code. I think we just need to be transparent in these and thoughtful. And that's all we're looking for as code officials in the state of New York, to protect New Yorkers. We have the same goal, Codes Council. And that's all I have to say. Very quick. Thank you.
Thank you, Marty.
Next up, we have Mary Thompson.
Mary, you're live.
Hello? Good morning.
Hello, you're live.
Hi. I'm the CEO of the Home Builders and Remodelers of Central New York. And like the past two speakers, I just want to speak as things move forward and you start to work on the 2027 code. Housing affordability on behalf of the residential construction industry, homeowners, potential homeowners across the state. Our concerns are about the growing number of mandates and building code requirements, often well-intentioned, but they continue to exacerbate the housing affordability crisis that we're facing across New York. Escalating code requirements are making it increasingly difficult to meet housing needs. Every time a new mandate is added, whether it's for wetlands or energy performance or design features, equipment specification, it adds to the cost, complexity, often the red tape and delay. These changes are not, they seem small in isolation, but they accumulate over time. Now, let me be clear. The industry wants safe, resilient, energy efficient housing. but we have to start to balance these goals with the urgent need for affordability. We urge the Code Council to incorporate housing cost impact analysis for all of its rulemaking process and to reestablish the technical advisory committees that include the voices from the field, builders, engineers, architects, housing advocates, who understand what's happening on job sites and on the ground. Code decisions should not be made in a vacuum. They must be tied to data, cost-benefit analysis, and real-world experience. Most importantly, they have to reflect the needs of New Yorkers today, not an idealized future that fewer and fewer people will be able to afford to live in. We have to pay attention to housing affordability. I congratulate you on all the work that you've done, but we ask as you move forward, please include us so that we can make better decisions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mary.
Next up, we have Shlomo Pomerantz.
Okay, not there.
And last on my list is Kevin Foster.
Good morning.
Morning.
This is Kevin. I'm representing FASNY today, the Firefighters Association of the State of New York. We want to applaud the State Code Council, the Secretary, State Fire Administrator, and the staff at the Department of State on adoption of the new uniform and energy codes. As the focus of conversation has been on select number of important and passionate issues, FASNY wants to ensure the number of other items that are coming into the uniform code that will immediately improve the health and safety of the state firefighters. These include updated battery use and storage requirements, provisions to deal with micromobility devices like scooters, e-bikes, increased application of emergency responder radio improvements in existing buildings, expanded sprinkler system protections in parking garages, addressing combustible walls, coverings, and high-rises, and many other needed improvements. Of course, we are very excited that New York is now added to the growing list of states that are requiring sprinkler protection in townhomes. With townhomes being an increasing share of New York's housing stock over the last decade, FASNY looks forward to tracking the performance of these systems and reducing fire injuries and fatalities with our partners, and to provide education on the benefits of these systems for the other types of occupancies. Your diligence on this issue, as well as other changes, is a testament to New York's participation in national codes and standards development and using data to determine the best way forward for New Yorkers. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
And that is it for my list.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak to the Code Council today?
Oh, sorry. Jack Lyons just wrote in asking to speak.
Okay. Can I unmute Mr. Lyons?
Spell it. JACKLYONS.
Oh, good morning, yeah, it's still morning.
Morning.
I am Jack Lyons. I'm a Northeast Field Representative for NEMA, the National Electrical Manufacturing Association. And if I'm the last speaker, I want to make sure that I say to you all, congratulations, take a breath, pat yourself on the back. It may not be perfect, but it's one step closer for safety, efficiency, and protection of your citizens. So I want to commend you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was it.
That's it. Okay. Closing public comment. Agenda item number 9, future meetings. The last meeting of the year, the fourth quarter meeting, will be held on December 5th unless there's a reason to bring us back. I hope there's not. No, I'm knocking on wood. We will be sending out potential dates for 2026, so please keep an eye out for emails from Kevin as we try to determine what we're doing next year. We should have a lot more flexibility in our timelines next year. That takes us to agenda item 10, which is other business. I'm going to take the chair moment here and just first thank the code council members. For everyone within the sound of my voice, this is not an easy test. It was definitely not an easy test this time around. There was a lot of input from many groups, and of course, the New York State Legislature. We had a lot we had to incorporate into this code, and these guys have to read 5,000 pages plus all the rulemaking language. It's a lot of work. So I want to thank the code council members first, and then I absolutely have to thank my team by name. So I'm just going to run through the names of the people who were the chief architects of this. John Adario, Ryan Tollison, Kevin Dewar-Clark, team lead number 1, Emma Gonzalez-Laters, team lead number 1A, Maniota Hyde, team leader number 1B, Larissa Delango, Jeannie Rice, Pat Severs, Stephen Van Hoos, Gregory Benton, Dan Carroll, Chris Jetson, Nick Petramali, David Gonzalez, Malia Felty, Brian Topher, Gina Joven, Shanice Helena, and of course, China Clark, who is no longer shaking her head now. Thank you all for an amazing job over 4 years. I can't begin to say how much I appreciate it. With that, is there any other business to come before the council today?
Just wanted to commend the staff as well. Tremendous job. I know you guys have a lot to do, and you made it easier for myself as a code council member.
Appreciate that. Anyone else? Okay. Then I move that we adjourn until December 5th or at the call of the chair. May I have a second? We'll do it the right way. One more time. Joe seconds. All in favor? Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? No one wants to keep going? Great. We are adjourned. Thank you. Thank you.